I'm happy to report tonight that the Democratic Party is in pure DEFCON 9 panic mode. Ladies and gentlemen, the Biden presidency is collapsing faster than Joe Biden on a staircase with Donkey Kong on top. Do we have that clip? Come on, only the real ones know that Donkey Kong, okay? That's like from 30 years ago. 150 days into Joe Biden's presidency, and it's hard to think of how things could be going worse. We made a list of deeply troublesome data for the Democratic Party. Please follow along at your viewing pleasure. Welcome to the Republican town of McAllen, Texas. That's right, all politics is local. And if an election in a dark blue border town is any indicator, and it is, Democrats are doomed. This is the newly Republican town of McAllen, Texas, booming 85% Hispanic population, and just elected their first Republican mayor in a generation. New mayor Javier Villalobos cites Democrats' open borders policies as his key to victory. This city had a chance to reject Bidenism, and they did so, resoundingly. But Bidenism rejected them first. Perhaps it was more difficult for Republicans to win in this region if the administration showed even the slightest interest in stemming the crisis that is killing these communities. Instead, Americans who live on the southern border are treated like this.
Just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
Okay, you haven't been a year. I don't get it. What kind of an answer is that? This is why you see maps like this. Okay, look at the percentage of increase in Trump voting right along the border. This attitude by Kamala Harris and our ruling class is why counties in Texas are turning blood red in unison in favor of law and order, security, and a border wall. They hate Kamala Harris and her attitude, and they're not the only ones. Polling is devastating for Kamala. It shows America loathes Kamala Harris. Disapproval is massive for our vice president in the GOP, and with independents, and shockingly in the Democratic Party. These polls are devastating. Nancy Pelosi's approval ratings are shakier than her dentures on Splash Mountain. Check out this cratering. Very bad for Pelosi. Much like Pelosi kneeling on the floor, these poll numbers are not getting up anytime soon. Recall efforts for Democratic governors are sweeping the nation. California, Michigan, and New Jersey are facing recalls. Blue governors in blue states being ripped out of office. It's amazing. The only person who rips harder in office is Eric Swalwell.
Taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help them cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans all last week.
This loss of faith from the American people is being felt by those in the Democratic Party who have political survival instinct. Joe Manchin, Democrat from West Virginia, nuked Democrats' federal election takeover bill from space this week, stating he would not vote for the wildly unconstitutional bill that federalizes elections and nationalizes fraud. Perhaps both these senators would be more likely to support an agenda if the party had a messenger, if people knew what that agenda was. So let's check in and see what the Democratic Party's chief messenger had to say.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you, Joe. Let's try for something else. Any other members of the First Family? How about the First Lady? Do you have something for us?
So say it with me. Si se puede. The future is ours. Thank you.
Much like your husband, you don't seem to be able to speak English or Spanish. So horrifying. What a disaster. What a dumpster fire this entire family is. It's such a lack of vision from this family, from the Bidens, and the impending doom that is driving the largest retirement of sitting congressional Democrats in modern history. The rats are fleeing the ship. This is what happens when you have an election based entirely on hatred of one man, and that hatred for their country. And the left does this to America empirically If you are burning this country to the ground, surely you do not love it. If you believe the people and institutions of a country are irredeemable deplorables shot through with systemic racism, you do not love that country. You would never want to fight for that country. The greatest sign of whether you are qualified to lead a country is if you love the people in it. The left fails at that every single time. Americans do not want to be led by people who despise this place. When you have lost the faith of dark blue border towns, broad swaths of independents, long-serving politicians in your own party, bisexual millennial senators, and illegal immigrants, perhaps you may just want to stay in Guatemala. Oh wait, they don't want you there either.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.